Not everything is meant to be inspirational. Power, access, control.
This is the AC Pulse, the podcast where we examine power, labor, and culture at the points where they collide. I'm your host, Amanda Corrales, artist, producer, and systems critic. And on this show, we don't just tell stories. We trace patterns, we examine incentives, we name what creative industries would rather keep quiet. Last episode, we talked about institutional ghosting, the polite meeting, the we'll take this back to leadership, the silence dressed up as closure. But silence doesn't evaporate. It lands somewhere. And today's episode is not about them. It's about what it cost me. Because when you decide to speak up, you don't just name the harm. You inherit the silence that follows. You lose relationships, you lose gigs, you lose rooms you once felt safe in. And no one prepared me for that. So let's talk about the price of truth-telling. Retaliation doesn't always look like a lawsuit. Sometimes it's subtler. A callback you don't get, a project that quietly disappears, a collaborator who suddenly can't make time. There's no formal notice. There's just distance. And after episode 13, we know what that distance is. It's strategic. Silence is not neutral. It's containment. And when that containment lands on you, it feels personal. You start replaying every conversation. Was I too direct? Did I say too much? Should I have softened it? Did I make myself unhireable? You start auditing your own tone instead of examining their behavior. That's how power maintains itself, through isolation, through reputation whispering, through making you feel like the disruption instead of the disruption being the problem. And the cost of naming it, you get labeled difficult, not inaccurate, and definitely not unethical. Difficult. So, professional blackballing in the arts. Let's talk about what really happens behind the scenes. Emails get forwarded, DMs get screenshotted. Your name starts appearing in rooms you were not invited into. Not because you showed up with ego, but because you showed up with evidence. And evidence is threatening. The arts community loves a good survivor story until you survive something they funded. Then it becomes inconvenient. Then you become complicated. You don't get formally blacklisted. You just slowly stop getting called. The room temperature shifts, opportunities drift, and because it's subtle, it's not something you can prove, but you can feel it. This is the unspoken cost of speaking up. You don't just challenge power, you disrupt comfort, and comfort protects itself.
Feeling overwhelmed by inconvenient truths? Introducing the NDA Spa Treatment, trademark, where nonprofits go to decompress, deflect, and delete their paper trail. Our full day itinerary includes gaslighting gratitude, yoga, apology-free aromatherapy, a silence-themed sound bath, and of course, every guest receives a custom monogrammed NDA upon checkout. The NDA Spa Retreat trademark, because nothing says healing like erasure.
Let's get back into it. You ask, the internal cost? Here's the part people don't talk about. The exhaustion doesn't just come from the system. It comes from being watched differently, from realizing clarity costs proximity, from seeing who distanced themselves, who stayed neutral, who chose comfort over accountability. And neutrality in moments of harm is not passive. It's protective, just not of you. There's grief in that, not regret, grief. Because you see clearly now. You see the architecture. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So why do we still speak? I know what it costs me, and I feel it in every inbox I never heard back from. But here's what I gained. I gained clarity, I gained conviction, and I gained undeniable proof that I am not alone. Because every time one of us speaks, the whisper network gets louder. Every storm becomes data. Every pattern becomes harder to deny. They can ghost one person, but it's harder to ghost a pattern. And when you realize that, you stop asking to be let in and you start building elsewhere. Next episode, we move from cost to control. We ask whose innovation gets protected and whose gets copied, repackaged, and funded. Because when you speak up and lose access, something else becomes clear. Protection is not evenly distributed, and neither is credit. In episode 15, we're breaking down power, ownership, and intellectual extraction in the creative economy, and why some ideas are guarded while others are extracted. And if this episode hit close to home, if you've felt the isolation, the retaliation, the quiet erasure, this is exactly why I created my book, The Artist Code Power. Because speaking up without understanding the architecture of power, it gets expensive. But the Artist Code Power is about clarity, leverage, and structural awareness, so that when you do speak up, you're not just reacting, you're positioned. This is the AC Pulse, where speaking up might cost you a little access, but staying silent costs you yourself. Have you faced retaliation for telling the truth? Have you felt the cold shoulder of a community that once called you family? Tag us at the AC Pulse and follow us on Instagram at the AC Pulse. Send me your story anonymously at my email, amanda@ajcorrales.com. Use the hashtag the cost of speaking up, because silence might protect them, but speaking protects us. Thanks for watching. This is the AC Pulse, and I'll see you next time.